The L.I.F E, Leading Individuals Forward Everyday Symposium is a series of speakers hand-selected by best-selling author Carlos Wallace. This is a veritable masterclass in society's relevant issues and controversial ideas presented by A-list orators, and it's inspired by the best-selling book, Life is Not Complicated, You Are, turning your biggest disappointments into your greatest blessings.
But welcome to the first L.I.F.E Symposium. I am your mistress of ceremonies. My name is Tinan, and I'm happy to be here, leading individuals forward every day. That's what these big letters stand for. Did y'all know that? Did y'all? No, you didn't. Until I said, did you know it? All right? We're going to have a good time tonight. The objective is to learn something. You came with something, but you're going to leave with more. But this young man, he is an author. He's also a poet. He hails to you all the way from Louisiana. You are clapping right now. Please put your hands together for Mr. Midas. Touch!
There's a lion in the room, and my presence threatens you. See, first you tried to chain me, then you gave me 2 chains to wrap me into mental slavery. But the bindings of my mind have been slipped. Those chains in the name Toby don't fit. I found a way to break free. Then you tried inequality. You said in order for me to be a man, I would have to add 2 more fifths to my 3, as if 5 of you could ever equal 1 of me. But when I looked in your eyes and saw the fear behind them, you tried to beat me, so I toughened my chin. And when the whips you traded in for nightsticks could no longer break my spirit, you tried to kill me. But let's be honest about it. You already know who I am, but you're too terrified to say it like repeating Candyman 3 times in front of the mirror. Because it's cowards to see staring back at you every time you look in the mirror. You keep thinking of the horrors that would follow if you acknowledge what you already know, that your position on the food chain is at an all-time low. Because there's a lion in the room, and my presence threatens you. Physically, we've been superior, stronger and more resilient. I have infiltrated every sport of my interest and whooped you at it. And when I walked into the office, you knew what was about to happen. So you started saying things like, he's not a team player. He's just too arrogant. It's called confidence, bitches. I was born with it. Failure is not in my vocabulary. See, you're looking at success. My creativity comes from ingenuity that was forged out of necessity. And no time to play around with you might make me seem a little bit rude, but I'll turn savage on you quick, even though I got on this suit. So the next time you come around me, make damn sure you check that attitude. Because there's a lion in the room, and my presence threatens you. The propaganda is nothing but a farce. My ears have been deaf to that garbage you force feed me on the radio. My eyes have been blind to the shows you bankroll and perpetuate images of self-hate. We both know it's always been in your plans to separate. Therefore, you try to split us by depicting our beautiful black queens, mothers, and sisters as gold diggers. And our black fathers and kings is only being absent, but I see through your tactics. I respect the mother of my children, even though I may not be with her. I love and sacrifice my little ones outside of your governmental demands, and to provide for them if I had to, I'm willing to shovel manure and cut grass. But let's get one thing straight, player. This king does not kiss ass. My seeds are the heirs to my throne. That's why you want us apart, because you know I will groom them to be just like me. To love themselves first, to have no fear, no limits, and no doubts about their self-worth. I teach them to walk with their heads high and their chest stuck out. And once I educate them, it's nothing you can do about it when there's a whole family of lions in the room. Heck, even my offspring threaten you. See, everything about me speaks to majesty and what is divine. Life on this earth began with my kind, so it only stands to reason why. Every idea you steal and step you take is always a step behind. Come to think of it, ain't your genes inferior to mine? That means even your DNA needs to get in line. See, you're only brave when you're holding a weapon, and even then that chill is squeezing your spine. Now I know why you're so eager to be rid of me. You fear what you can't control, and it shows on your face when confronted by me. That's why you have to call for those reinforcements, even though there's only one of me. See, we were the first. the true heirs to this earth, and ours is the image of strength you tried so desperately to destroy. And despite your attempts to implement a plan of my demise long before I was born, I stand here in beautiful man, black man defiance of you and your ploy. See, you can never mentally or physically castrate me, and I laugh at any attempts to emasculate me. And since I know you scared to, I'll just say it for you. There's a lion in the room, and you will never tame me, cage me, or break me. Thank you for listening.
I said, how's everybody doing? That was my sound check. You ain't got to clap again. I'm just making sure the microphone was on. Appreciate y'all for coming out tonight. A lot of people ask me, like, at least they used to, back in the day when I was growing up off Martin Luther King, they was like, hey, how you getting to work? And I'd be like, man, I'm catching the bus. Sometimes I would catch a lot of buses. Now I just roll in on one of these. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that awesome? That's awesome. She was just telling you guys that I'm the bomb. I believe her. You know, I'll tell you why I'm the bomb here in a second. I grew up off Martin Luther King Boulevard. And I don't know if you've ever been to the other Martin Luther King Boulevards across the U.S., but they all look alike. Every single one of them. Before I became the bomb.com, like she stated earlier, I was traveling across America, and every time I would touch down in the city, I'd Google Martin Luther King Boulevard. Then I noticed that there was a lane, a street, a road, a freeway, whatever. And no matter what, it was the same type of people there. What I recognize is that even though it's the same type of people there, the process never changes. Education is still important. That's how I got out. I got out of my situation by reading. Some people don't trust the process. I do. Some people don't believe that if you go to school, K through 12th grade, that, you know, if you read, then you too can achieve. I do. Some people don't understand that if you go to college, you're more likely to be successful in life. I do. I truly believe each and every one of those sayings because I'm living it. Growing up off Martin Luther King Boulevard wasn't easy. I had to fight. I grew up with crackheads, knew them by name, some family members. I got kicked out of HISD. Can you imagine how hard it is to get kicked out of Houston Independent School District? You gotta be, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I come from. Where I'm at now, I'm a multi-millionaire business owner. I have a few stores across the U.S. I'm the first college graduate in my family. Clap it up. Don't clap it up again because I stay in a gated community. Clap it up. I'm safe. Clap it up. Clap it up. Growing up off Martin Luther King, I didn't have a lot of examples. I was looking around. I had all my OGs, all the dope dealers, everybody that looked like they had the road to success. They didn't have it. What I did was I made the best decision that I've ever made in my life by joining the military. We have any veterans in the house? No? Sucks. Appreciate you. I pushed the military as a whole for a lot of reasons. Growing up off Martin Luther King, the schools are not always that great. I knew that if I went straight to college from the hood, I wouldn't be as prepared as I am now. And I know that now, being as old as I am and as seasoned as I am, just looking back at everybody that's going through what I would have went through had I made those same decisions. My best decision I ever made was joining the United States Navy Not because I wanted to go fight for the United States. Not because, we got, you got extra money coming in. That has something to do with it. But I joined the Navy because I knew that if I'd have stayed, I'd have been just like everybody else around me. I got a chance to travel the world, eat 3 meals a day. I had brand new drawers. I can't remember the time before that when I had brand new drawers. By show of hands, anybody else ever worn hand-me-down drawers? I'm the only one. All right, that's cool. I didn't expect anybody else to admit it. When you wear hand-me-down drawers, you can't wait to pop the tag on your drawers. That's what the military gave me. They gave me choices, options, leadership skills. I was able to go to college for free. I was able to do a lot of things. Right now what I'm doing is I travel the world, Thailand, China, South Africa, the Philippines, Indonesia. They're going through natural disaster right now. With all this traveling that I do, I'm able to see things differently from everyone else. That's one of the reasons why I'm a global entrepreneur. I traveled to South Africa. When I went to South Africa, I got a chance to soak in the history. I went to the animal kingdom, soak in everything that the animals go through or some of the things that we used to go through as black people, as African Americans, or just people, period. We all didn't have these buildings and the iPhones and things like that. It was a point in time where we just had the bushes. In South Africa, what I recognize more than anything is that Nelson Mandela is the man. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela has statues, roads, schools, whatever you can think of, museums. They push him to the forefront. Here in America, we got Martin Luther King. Our Nelson Mandela is Martin Luther King. The similarities that Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela show, I don't show coming from Martin Luther King Boulevard. Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King turn the other cheek. That's not how we're raised coming from Martin Luther King Boulevard. I'm sharing that with you because that's who I used to be. You used to not be able to hit me without me getting my lick back. Now I'm in a point where I don't respond to negativity. I keep going, I keep moving forward, I keep having fun and building brands. I brought up the similarities between Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela because those are two people that I don't want to be like. I want to be like Marcus Bowers. I like those guys. I just don't like the way that they're putting them in the forefront. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that we got other leaders. Mikey Xavier Johnson, Gavin Long, and a whole slew of other men that shed their blood, sweat, and tears and sacrificed for us. So some of you guys that don't know who Mikey Xavier Johnson is, that's the young man, veteran, that went to Dallas and they say lost his mind by shooting up those police officers. I say he got somebody's attention. Now, I'm definitely not for shooting police officers, but I'm also not for black people getting shot and nobody being held accountable. So with that being said, I wrote a book. I wrote a book encouraging all of us, men, women, boys, girls, especially the young ones, to change the rhetoric in our community. Let's use the military as an option. The military should be one of your first options instead of the last option. For those that disagree, I can debate you forever. But instead, I'd just rather you look at my success and understand that there's a blueprint. When Harriet Tubman was alive, she created the Underground Railroad. What the Underground Railroad consisted of was a lot of houses, people, places, all working together to push people towards freedom. Right now in 2018, we don't have the Underground Railroad, even though it should still exist. I travel the world, I talk to people. Everybody that I talk to that use the military as an option understands the value in it except for black people. We spend our times in our neighborhoods disregarding the rhetoric, changing the rhetoric, making sure that people know, hey, the military ain't no place for no black man. I wrote a book called Martin Luther King Boulevard, Road, Street, Mindset. After reading this book, I hope that you gather a few things. One, just know that the military is one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Two, just know that I have a bunch of college degrees, and that's only because of the military. Three, just know that I would probably be dead or in jail if it had not been for the military. Before I get off stage, I want to share with you that you don't have to wait to be great. Everybody that I've spent the most time with here on earth, from my mom, my brother, my best friend, they're all no longer here. My mom and brother were taken away because God said so. My best friend was taken away because God said so, also because he was the leader of the gangs, and but all that had a little something to do with it. Don't wait to be great. Ali, he didn't wait to be great. He talked. He told people where he was from, who he was, and where he was going. Right now, I know I don't use my platform enough to talk as much as I can, but after today, I'm going to. Marcus Bowers, Martin Luther King Boulevard, Road, Street, Mindset.
Did you learn something? Figure it out a little bit? Because everybody in here is going to give you something that's going to touch somebody else. Okay? So give it up for Mr. Marcus Bowers. We're going to move on. I'm going to bring out these two women. I love women empowering women. Come on, guys. Women that empower women, okay? It is nothing more attractive or more sexy than a woman that comes together with a group of women to say, you know what? We're going to empower other women. You understand what I'm saying? So you are putting your hands together for these beautiful women, Dr. Maya Wadley and Rachel Ford, the co-founders of 8 Impact.
So there's this thing called life. And in this life, we're going to have ups, downs, curves. Let me paint you a picture. I like to think of life, the first part of foundation. So with foundation, you have the beautiful green grass. Make sure you water your grass. Water your grass with positive words, positive self-talk, and believing in yourself. So with that foundation, you also have the opportunity for these booming, beautiful flowers. Now, the flowers may come in the form of your education, check. A certification, check, check. Maybe entrepreneurship, check, check, check. But with all of that positivity, all these things growing, all of the beautiful blooms, you have to be careful. Because the weeds may come up and choke out your blooms. The weeds of entitlement, the weeds of greed, and more than anything, the weeds of tragedy. So an example, my husband and I, we were living our best life. Just got married, we had the education, had our entrepreneurship. Even failing businesses are great, you have to learn. So we had our entrepreneurship, and then we were blessed with my son. We're blessed with my son, a little bit nervous, but it's all good. But you have to be careful of those weeds, because the weed of tragedy tried to choke the life out of us. My son. Yeah, my son died. The weed of tragedy tried to choke the life out of us. because my son, yeah, he died.
Tragedy. The adversities of life. You're living your best life, and then, bam, it hits you. Tragedy is defined as distress, destruction, and suffering. As I define that word, you can literally begin to feel some of the emotions that are associated with tragedy. Tragedy can come in so many forms. It can come in the form of loss of a job, loss of a house, or as Rachel said, loss of a loved one, death, and all the emotions that are associated with death, grief. For me, tragedy came in a different way. As she said, living the dream, the house, the car, the kid, the dog. And then me and my spouse didn't get along anymore. Divorce. Divorce is a monster of its own, you know. It's encompassed with so many emotions. There's anger, there's pain, and there's grief. It literally feels like somebody died. Then no matter what that person may have done or may not have done, they could have abused you physically, emotionally. They could have cheated. You could have cheated. But there'll still be some feelings of abandonment felt. And the worst monster of them all, isolation. You withdraw because you're embarrassed, you're depressed, and really you're confused because you really can't figure out how in the world this is happening in your life. I felt those feelings, guys, and I owned them. But the thing is, I had to make a choice to get up and to move forward. Sometimes I made that choice daily. The challenges in life we have, they're not meant to break us or to destroy us. They're for growth. They help give us character, and they help us to become who we're supposed to be. So no matter how much sorrow you may experience or how much grief, the negative experiences you have in life may affect you in some ways forever, but they do not define you, and they do not define your future. It's up to you. How do you choose to look at things? It's kind of like when you go to the eye doctor and they ask you, is one or two better? One is usually really, really blurry. And then they flip that lens, and then you can see so crystal clear. Life is just the exact same way. Will you look at life and the things that happen to you out of the eyes of a blurry lens of resentment, hate, pointing the finger and pointing blame? Or will you change the lens, and will you choose to take every single thing that happens to you and accept that it's a part of a masterpiece that's being created in your life? It's up to you. Only you can change the lens. There is life after adversity, and there is certainly life after death.
Anger. She says there's life after death. Anger. So I was talking to my mom one day after we had lost my son, and I was telling her, like, Mom, all day today I've just cried and I've been so angry. I've rolled on the floor. I've broken stuff. I've kicked stuff. I've punched stuff. I've been so angry. I can't seem to move out of this. Can we all agree that growth usually comes in the most uncomfortable situations? So I'm talking to my mom, and I'm telling her how angry I am and everything I'm feeling, and she says this: Rachel, it's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you to roll, for you to kick, for you to scream, but you can't stay there. You have to get up. You can't stay there. So that's where the grace comes in. That's where accepting the healing came in, saying, I'm going to decide to change my lens, to change the anger, to change the frustration, and say, we know better than anyone else that no day is promised. We know better than anyone else that minute to minute, second to second, it is not promised. So we no longer want to survive. We wanted to thrive. We wanted to live our best life. So we made the choice. We are going to change our lens on that day. And there would be times we would still get on the floor, and we would still roll and kick and scream and be angry, but we wouldn't stay there. We accepted grace. We took the healing. And as difficult as it was, I say we've grown. We now are able to look at my two beautiful daughters who've been talking in the crowd, if you haven't heard them. We love those too. So we decided to change the lens and accept our grace and thrive in our healing.
Sometimes when we're going through that tragedy, we want to pick stuff up and just break it, right? Sometimes we may not. But how many of you, if I broke this glass or you broke this glass at home, would just kind of clean it up and pick it up and throw it in the trash? Pretty much everybody, right? We would clean it up. Well, there's a beautiful art that the Japanese culture have. It's called kintsugi, the art of precious scars. And the way that they look at things is, if a piece of pottery is broken, they take it and they put it back together again. And then they use gold to enhance those scars. I think that's a pretty important lesson for us in life. We're all going to be beaten, battered, bruised at some time in life. But if we take the healing that's offered to us and we accept it, then that brokenness becomes a part of us. And it makes us so much beautiful than we were once before. We now have wisdom, experience, and things that just make us a better person. So if we accept that healing, we get to practice the art of kintsugi, and we can celebrate our scars.
Y'all see my gold shoes? They real bright and sparkly. That's the gold part. Necklace, that's the gold part of kintsugi. All the broken pieces in life, all the ups, the downs, the curves, whatever it was, the gold reminds us how beautiful we still are. What a beautiful masterpiece that's being created. So for us to be able to thrive, we had to move and find out, what are the things that make me me? What are my passions? What excites me? What moves me? What makes me want to wake up? Needless to say, my kids, my husband, my family, of course, a little shopping. But whatever it is, you have to find for you. What is going to help you thrive? What is going to move you from where you're at to your next level? What is going to help you level up? So for us, we found our passion and our purpose in creating a nonprofit that mentors young girls and helps young girls know what you're going through. Baby, we've been through that too. And we're not going to tell you that the road is easy, but we're going to be living examples for you that you will get through it, that there is joy on the other side, and that if you stay the course, you will too be able to thrive. So we saw young girls from last year to this year completely transform their lives. Young girls who were in regular classes and failing are now in AP classes making 90s. So whatever your purpose, whatever your passion, just know the choice is yours. Will you take the tragedies that come, the ups, the downs, even the great things, and make sure that you change your lens to see the beautiful masterpiece that is being created? You were put here for a purpose that's so much more than what we think. Take all the broken pieces and see exactly how beautiful they are.
So everything's just a little bit better with glitter, right, ladies? We like a little sparkle, a little glitter. So in our masterpiece, we put glitter because for us, it just really emphasizes the natural occurrences in life. Like when you watch a sunrise or a sunset, or when you stand on a mountain peak and you look down at the valley and everything that's been created and you just are in awe. Those things help us to just take a step back and appreciate the small things and just be grateful. So here we have our masterpiece, and the masterpiece has been completed. So here's the proposal. Life comes with ups and downs, highs and lows, good times, bad times. We don't get to choose which ones we get and how much of it we get. But what we can choose is how we choose to look at it. Will you flip the lens? How will you look at the adversities that come in your life?
So I want you to think, I like to paint a picture. So you're thinking, if you worked out and you're trying to lift weight, but I want you to imagine you're lifting something that's 120 pounds. So you're lifting and you're using all your energy to try to hold it, and it's heavy. You feel like you're gonna drop it. You feel like you can't hold it any longer. You should be feeling it right now. So you're trying to hold it, and then you're able to drop it. So that's the release. So today, if nothing else, what is the heavy lift that you're trying to hold on to? What is the heavy lift that is stopping you from being the best you? Today, tonight, you have permission to release it. To release it so that you can be the best you, so that you can elevate, so that you can go to your next level. Tonight, you have permission to do that. Ready? Thank you.
Put your hands together for Ernest L.I.F.E.
Everybody say this with me. It's up to me. Oh, y'all got to do better than that. Say it with your chest. Say, it's up to me.
It's up to me.
All right, that sounds better. To be. To be or not to be. That is the question. And to me, to be should be the answer. Because not to be would mean you are neglecting what you are designed to be. So every day wake up on your grind to be, and understand that you will be tested in the fire and refined to shine to be. Take that first step on the ladder to success and climb to be. And if that ladder gives way, then let go and grab hold of a rope. But whatever you do, don't lose hope. I'm sure they may have told you nope, but that's not the time to break up and quit your dreams, so elope. Because not everyone will understand the thoughts that you share from your heart and mind. Don't let that moment define you. Instead, allow it to remind you that you are an unstoppable champion and able to excel at anything you put your mind to. The only obstacle in the way is you. So press your way through. Look in the mirror every day and say, I believe in you. Dig from deep within to discover the true meaning of your existence. Then defy the odds in spite of overwhelming resistance. When you feel like quitting, remember why you started in the first place. Recall that first taste of success and allow that to be the driving force to get you back on your thirst pace. And yes, you may be in second, but you're closing in on first place. So don't give up, because it's not about how you start, but how you finish the race. You are the sum total of your choices. So choose to be. Listen, your dreams won't begin to take shape until you wake up and stop wishing and start working. Stop pouting and start planning. Stop prolonging and start achieving. Stop doubting and start believing that you can be successful. So don't be scared to fail. Mistakes will be made. Stop waiting to excel. Don't be afraid of your own greatness. Come out of your shell. The world is waiting for your brilliance to prevail. I dare you to be purposeful. I dare you to be productive. I dare you to open your eyes and see. I dare you to be inspired to be. Thank you. So, guys, today, if you give me 2 hours, I promise this message will change your life. However, I only have 15 minutes, so some of y'all may leave it the same. Good, y'all got the joke. I'm kidding. It's all jokes. So today I want to talk to you about something, man. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who just moved to Hollywood to pursue a career in film and television. And we were having a conversation. I say, man, listen, leave and don't come back. I said, I don't want to see you coming back here, because I want you to be successful, and I want you to go out, and I want you to be great. Do it, operate at a high level. And he's actually the person that shot the poem shot the video for the actual poem I just spit. His name is Sean Simmons. And me and Sean had a very candid conversation. He said, man, I can't come back. I don't have a plan B. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. How many of you all have had options where you just say, well, okay, I'm going to try plan B. If it works, and be honest with yourself. One of the things for me that I realize is the key ingredient to having a plan B is 4 things, and this is just my own. These are things that work for me. And so some of you may have things that work for you, but these are the things that work for me. The number one thing is discipline. You have to have a discipline in whatever craft that you're pursuing. For example, I'm a poet. I'm a motivational speaker. I do writing workshops. There's not a day that does not go by where I'm trying to be innovative. I'm trying to come up with an idea. I'm writing. I'm actually pursuing. I'm studying the people in my craft. I'm going after it aggressively because I desire to be great. And if you desire to not have a plan B and you want your plan A to be strong, the first key is having discipline. Everybody say discipline. All right, good. Y'all listening? That's good. That's good. So discipline is a great thing to have. And I can say in some areas I'm still struggling, but for the most part, as it relates to discipline in my craft, I become a student of my craft. Whatever it is that you desire to do, whether you're a mechanic, whether you're doing hair, makeup, whatever it is, you should be studying the person that is operating at the highest level in that. The highest level in that. It takes a certain amount of discipline to be able to do that. Because those people got to that place because they had discipline. So study their habits if you don't have any of your own. And then develop some good ones on your own. If you have mentors. If you have mentors that can actually pour into. I have a great mentor by the name of Cornelius Carroll. He has a great discipline. And he takes care of his business on a day-to-day basis. And I love to be able to watch him. Also, Wallace is another great mentor. I'm able to watch and look at their disciplines and watch how they operate and be able to do that. And discipline is very, very, very important to the grand scheme of things. You can't do anything in life without discipline. And so July 2017, I started my weight loss journey. And July this year, I lost 60 pounds. So y'all clap for that. And it took me getting up every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, going to the gym, 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. I was committed to being my best self, because I can't stand in front of you and say, hey, be the best version of yourself. And I'm not looking like the best version of myself. It would be hypocritical. I would be a hypocrite to do that. It's not a good look. And so for me, it was my own personal thing. I really wanted to get to a place where I said, you know what? I want to shine. I want to be able to stand in front of people and and represent myself. I lost 60 pounds. I lost 60 pounds. Now, I went through a little trial, and I gained about 15 of the 60 back, but I'm on track to be able to lose those things because I turned 40 in November, and so my goal, thank you. So I set a personal goal of 40 by 40, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to lose 40 pounds by the time I'm 40, and I think I'm going to be a little bit behind, so y'all pray for me. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So the other thing is vision. Vision. And I don't mean vision like being able to see. I mean like vision being able to see beyond tomorrow and today. I already know what I basically want to do 5 years from now because I've set my eyes on that. I've set my eyes on my vision. I know exactly what I want to do. Now, there's a couple of things when it comes to vision that you must have. Now, you have to be careful with sharing your vision with the blind. Now, I don't mean the physically blind. I mean the people that every time you come to them with an idea, there's something negative to say. Well, what about this? And what about that? And what about, and all of those things are things that could happen. But right now, I need you to be able to add to it. Don't take away. And so there's a quote that I have where I say, you cannot soar like an eagle clucking with chickens. And for me, I refuse to, I run with nothing but eagles. If you notice an eagle, eagles are most of the time by themselves. Eagles fly solo. If you catch another eagle with an eagle, it's for a temporary moment. And chickens are, a dime a dozen. You can go right now to the store, to your local H-E-B. Shouts out to H-E-B. And get some chicken. But your parents have never often come to the table and said, hey, we have an eagle for dinner. Right? No. And because the eagle is taken seriously. The eagle is an American symbol. So it represents something. And so for me, I have to surround myself with people that are going somewhere. So I'm careful about who I share my vision with. I'm also mindful of the fact that sometimes not everybody will understand your story. Not everybody gets who you are and what you're about. And there's a song by Karen Clark Sheard. In the song, towards the end of the song, she says, you got to see it before you see it, or you never will see it. When I first heard that, it ignited something in me. I was like, so you have to see it before you see it, or you never will see it. I saw myself here. I saw myself standing right here talking to, not you specifically, but, talking to the masses about becoming the best version of themselves. I am epic. When I say I am epic, I'm not bragging on myself. I am saying I am encouraging people, inspiring change. So everybody say that with me. Say encouraging people. Y'all, this is not a funeral. Say encouraging people. Inspiring change. Every last one of you are epic. You have a responsibility to encourage the people around you to be able to do that. That should be one of the visions for your life, to be selfless in what you're doing. At least that's mine. My third thing is passion. Passion. That's one thing that I know personally that I don't lack. Passion. I may make a whole lot of mistakes. I leave things at people's houses. I do a whole lot of stuff. I can't remember like what today. I know today is October 6th and it's Saturday and we're here at Match. But, for the most part, when it comes to passion, I'm passionate. And I have a quote, and you guys can write this down if you want to. Pursue your passions on purpose, become productive, and your outcome will be profitable. Pursue your passions on purpose, become productive, and your outcome will be profitable. That's a 100% success rate. Imagine that. Imagine if we all said, today is the day that I'm going to pursue my passions on purpose, become productive, and my outcome will be profitable. Now, can I mention that I do writing workshops? Now, this is how you pursue your passions on purpose. I started out doing poetry. And so I was like, okay, well, going to do some poetry. And I'm passionate about writing. And then it evolved into me actually going into a drug and rehab center, and I performed some poetry for some youth. The director of the center was like, hey, can you teach the kids poetry? I was like, no. This is a God-given gift. I have no technical skill. I know a whole lot of people that could do it. But I kind of understood what she was saying. I can give them life skills. I can teach them about life. Because my life, starting out from February 23rd, 1983, 12:02 p.m., my dad passed away when I was 4 years old. He was stabbed and killed when I was 4 years old. And so I became, like my identity, the person who you identify with the most, that male figure, I lost that. So I can give them the passion connected to that. So she signed me up, did a 6-week workshop. That was beautiful. I ended up getting an opportunity shortly after that to open for Layla Hathaway and Ruben Studdard at the Arena Theater. Yes, and Layla Hathaway said I'm handsome, so I don't care what any of you guys think of it. Like, I wasn't being thirsty or anything. She offered it up. And I was like, yeah. Sorry, I'm back. So for me, when it comes to passion, there was a lady that saw me open for Layla Hathaway and Ruben Studdard, and she worked across the hall at Thurgood Marshall High School, and she said, hey, I think that guy across the hall is a poet, because I would come in and volunteer and just do some things with one of my friends who would come in the morning to talk to the kids. And I was just volunteering. I didn't have a job. And all of those things were, she came across, she said, would you mind doing the event? I said, fine. Came and did the event. Met a guy, hit me on the shoulder, almost dropped my bagel. He said, good job. I said, thanks. Guy with the heavy hand that almost made me drop my bagel. And I asked him, does he work here? He said, no. Further on in the conversation, I'm listening, and he said, I said, well, what do you do? He said, oh, I'm the superintendent. So he plugged me into the schools. I was able to have 2 schools, the district, and they paid for it. They paid me for it, and was able to go in and actually do what it is that I do. I came in, and it was called the Willing Writers Workshop. I called it Willing Writers because some of the kids were not willing to write, so I was like, whoever wants to write, you can do it. I'm here, checks already cut, whatever. And so, yeah. So ended up doing that, and it was really good, and really on the level of someone who was actually trying to do something. So for me, afterwards, after that, he plugged me into, I had another opportunity. I was able to be a keynote speaker at one of the high school graduations, and that was great. Plugged me into that, awesome. So guys, what I'm saying is, I was intentional from the moment that I started. If I had not pursued my passions on purpose, not become productive, then my outcome would not have been profitable. So I don't know who I'm talking to. I feel like I'm a pastor right now. I don't know who I'm talking to. But I want to tell you today. No, I was kidding. But and so the last thing is to believe. None of those things really matter if you don't believe. If you do not believe, none of those things really matter. So in order to believe, I had to be able to believe in myself even when no one else did. Even when no one else believed in me, I had to believe in myself. So I want to close you guys out with a poem, and it's called Press. Press. Its definition means to move into position by exerting continuous force. If you are finding this hard to do, allow me to encourage you to stay focused, fearless, willing to fight with a fistful of faith. Have an appetite for success, and don't stop until you scrape the plate. No matter where you are in life, it's never too late to press. If you find yourself depressed, stressed, state of mind a mess, and beginning to think of yourself as less, press. If you're having sleepless nights because life is killing you so you can't rest in peace, press. If they can't hear you no matter how loud you scream, and your team treats your ideas like it's no biggie and it was all a dream, if they never value the treasure hidden inside your chest, press. I'll give you guys a little bit of that. So guys, that's my time. I'm going to go ahead. Y'all been great.
Dr. Sherry Sawyer.
Dr. Wiggins.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing today? Awesome.
I need you to say one thing with me, okay? On the count of 1, 2, 3, I need you to say destroy the stigma. 1, no. 1, 2, 3.
Destroy the stigma.
Say it again.
Destroy the stigma.
All right. So then when we're working on destroying the stigma, what we want to do is learn how to break down the barriers of mental health and illness, not just in women, but in men, in the culture, in the community, and more importantly, to help everyone break down and understand how we can bridge this gap to mental health and mental illness, because it's about to take over the world now, because people are afraid to address it, connect to it, and even get the help to explore ways that they can be more productive, healthy individuals. We all are dealing with something, but how do you cope with it? So we're going to teach you about those little things, to work on coping skills, treatment interventions, and how to no longer let it be a stigma that takes over you.
Mental health is not only a stigma, It's one of those things that people are afraid to talk about. People don't want to address it. People will go to the doctor for if you have a headache, you break your leg, your heart hurts. But what happens when your head hurts? Why don't we talk about it? Why don't we destroy the stigma? I also want to address as well millennials. Millennials are the growing rate of having mental health issues for the simple fact it's due to social media. The rise of social media has increased mental illness elements such as PTSD, depression, and anxiety.
And so when we look at it now, as people don't acknowledge that the issues are becoming an issue, they actually result to a shutdown. And those shutdown and breakdown moments causes them to result to suicide. And sometimes you're silently killing yourself even though you don't actually commit the actual plan. And so we're working on how we can get through that barrier, the barriers of that. And one of the biggest things is to have the best support system that you can, even if it's only one person, one strong person that's in your support system. And so a lot of people say, well, who is that? Who do I talk to? Who can I trust? The thing about it is, little do you know the person that you're connected to is probably dealing with it or have dealt with those issues, whether it is sexuality, culture issues, stigma, racism. And so people look at it and say, well, wait a minute, I didn't go to the military, so I don't have PTSD, or I don't have any kind of strong disorders. And I love it when I call the clients and I talk with them and say, hey, I'm calling because I think that, there's a referral made. How do we help you? And they say, oh, I don't have that mental illness issue, but I do got that bipolar. Where we do that at? So I said, let's educate you. So the biggest thing is education, because sometimes you think, oh, well, I'm not that far off. I'm not that bad. I don't have this issue that far gone that I need to go to the psych ward. But let me tell you, if you're crying every day, you're all sad, you're emotionally disconnected, you're a hermit. You don't even want to be in your room. Nobody, oh, don't let them know that I don't want you to come to my house. Why? Because the house ain't clean. You're really disconnected, but you put all your business on social media. And the reason why is because the thing that happens with social media is that's the separating, isolated issue that don't allow you to connect to the reality of the issue.
And I have to say this, why do we like social media so much? Why do we like social media? Every time we get a like, what happens? What happens? Self-esteem booster. We get excited. Yes, you like my picture. Yes, but do you realize every time we get a like, there's this neurotransmitter in the brain that's called dopamine. Dopamine is the happy transmitter, just like when you eat your favorite cake, your favorite ice cream, watch Housewives of Atlanta. Yes, it makes you feel good. Yes, indeed. So when we get that like, it makes us feel good. But what happens when we don't get that like? You feel bad. So dopamine also kicks in. Social media and dopamine has turned into such an addictive entity that it's almost as addictive as actually taking an actual drug. And it has those same effects on the body. Something else that I also wanted to address that's really big, as my colleague Dr. Wiggins was talking about, is African Americans and mental health. What are some of the reasons? Well, some of the reasons is because, okay, let's look at socioeconomic status. I just can't afford it. You know, seeking mental health, it's not cheap. But also what? There's distrust. How can I trust my therapist? How can I trust my psychologist? And then just not enough information. Oh, my uncle, he's just crazy. You know, we'll just put him in the closet. But it's more than just being just crazy. There's actually something going on. And the unfortunate thing is within the community, especially the African American community, we don't pay attention until it's too late. Until we have to go or send the person to, you know, NPC or to the psychiatric hospital. This is when we actually pay attention. And at this point, we shouldn't even want to get to this point.
And the best way to help each other with that is, number one, know your resources. And the resources are out here, free, available, and at your disposal. So we have all these different clinics, from Legacy to the community mental health clinics, that will come straight to your home. And they say, oh, my kid is not on Medicaid. Excuse me, do you get food stamps? You qualify for Medicaid. Do you have child support? You qualify for Medicaid. You'd be surprised what you qualify for. And if you don't have it and you just have the insurance that are from the commercial insurance, then let's talk about how we can get those additional support systems set up. The churches have it. You don't trust the church? Okay, let's talk about the people who are life coaches. There are so many ways. You don't have to, now I love the way people tell me, I have a life coach, but I don't need a psychologist. They're doing the same thing. So regardless of the matter, someone is giving you effective life skills to help you become more effective in the community. Because you need to be productive, effective, and healthy citizens while you're out here doing day-to-day routines. And so how are you coping? And that's the biggest thing, coping strategies.
Yes, yes, indeed. Coping. The big thing with coping is, once again, to communicate with someone. Tell someone something, whether it's your friend, your doctor, your teacher, your colleague. Let them know, I'm depressed. That's a sign. They're actually asking for help without asking for help. But there are so many things that you can do. Therapeutically, we have what we call relaxation techniques. There's a certain way to breathe that can actually alleviate that stress. There's also other things you can do as well. You can exercise as well. You can write in a journal. But if those things don't help, it's definitely important to communicate with someone. And there's so many resources out there, like they said. Actually going to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, a therapist or a psychotherapist, most people don't even know there is a sliding scale. We do offer a sliding scale, but guess what? You have to ask. If you ask me my fee, I'm going to tell you, yes, it's $350 an hour. But if we get to talking a little more and I see that you really need help, that $350 can easily drop to $50, to $75, to $25, to $10, or to even what can you afford?
It might be free. But the thing about it is we're not going to let you fall and get to that point where you're no longer able to find out who you are and you give up on life before it even gets to that point. But reach out. There's a suicide hotline. Nowadays, you don't really know, okay, let me call the police and figure out what to do because JoJo over here is tripping. You know what? Call the crisis team. And they actually have, all you have to do is dial 911 and say, I have a crisis and I need the CIT officer or the HOP team to come. They automatically know when you say HOP team, HOP, or CIT officer, it's a crisis. And they have to send the police, and they usually would send an ambulance just to make sure, because you don't know what that situation is. And the thing about it is the cry for help is so subtle that you can easily miss it. It's like that mustard seed that we talk about, that faith. They have just a little bit of faith in you to be able to help them to be able to not do what they don't want to do. Because the person who sincerely wants to commit suicide, they won't even tell you. They write a nice letter and give the closure, and you'll be like, how did I miss the signs? But then when you go back and reflect, you see all the signs that were connected from the issues of your social media and everything. And I will never forget when a mom was telling me, she said, how did I miss it? Because we had him in the church, we had him doing this, we had him doing that. But not once did she know he was living an unclosed life. The disclosable life that he was living was a double life, which was causing him to not be able to know who he was anymore. So simple. And it goes from the 3-year-old, the babies. Now they're struggling for whatever reason. They became the adults at this young age, to these seniors who are slowly sitting in nursing homes every day wishing they would die. That's just the same form of suicide. It's just a different version. So think about that and think about ways that you can get the help that you need. Don't be afraid. And if that one help didn't work, think about it like a marriage or a relationship. That first person you connect to might not be the right person. Keep trying until you get the right person. There is enough providers out here and professionals and life coaches and individuals who want to see you succeed that will be able to help you. So if that first one don't work, don't shut it down. Continue to try to get the help you need because we are here to help.
And we also have to pay attention to our millennials. Millennials are the up-and-coming generation. And did you know millennials are the ones who are experiencing the most mental health issues? It's not only millennials, but it's women. The women that are in the millennial generation, they come to mental health therapists and say, I'm depressed. Well, why are you depressed? They worry about things such as education, finances, how I'm just going to cope day to day. So we have to pay attention to this new and upcoming generation that is communicating with us, because a lot of us seem to think, oh, you're okay, you don't have any issues, but then we start seeing the signs. Withdrawal, not communicating, crying a lot, going into recluse, just not themselves. But we really, really don't pay attention. So anytime you see any signs or symptoms, simply just ask, are you okay? That's all it takes. Are you okay? That's all it takes. Are you okay? Because we must start paying attention.
And the other question is, how's your day? The easiest question besides, are you okay? How's your day? How many times someone tell you, how's your day? And you look at them and be like, for real? It's fine.
I'm okay. Mm-hmm.
But then you look back and you, wait a minute. Because that I'm fine, women already know. I'm fine means it's a lot going on. You're on my last nerve. I got this kid, I got this man, I got all these responsibilities, whatever. But that I'm fine really is hidden besides the whole deal and say, I love it when people say, is there anything I can do for you today? Take that little pressure off and it'll shift it and say, absolutely. What would you like to do? And so no longer do I tell people, oh, it's just the greatest day. I'm going to say, now I'm walking in an awesome spirit, but in reality, I'm totally overwhelmed. It's a lot happening in one day. And when I say it, then they look at you kind of sideways, but then they realize, okay, she's being real. This is a lot going on. And you can have those days. Give yourself permission to do that.
And also with mental health doesn't always mean medicine. Everybody is not on medication, okay? Say it with me. Everybody is not on medication. Let me hear it. That's not convincing. Say it again.
Everybody is not on medication.
Thank you. She said yes, exactly. Mental health treatments include relaxation techniques, therapy, color therapy, music therapy, swim therapy, equine therapy. There's so many things that we can do, but you just have to seek the help.
So once again, we're going to leave this conversation with you. Any questions, comments? You're good to go?
But before we leave, what are we going to do? 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, that's not convincing. Wait. No. Okay, wait. Let's try this again. 1, 2, 3.
Destroy the stigma.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I'm Dr. Jerry Sawyer.
Dr. Wiggins, it's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Now please put your hands together for Mr. Midas. Touch!
The audience and the guests? All right, awesome. So I hope I didn't scare you too much earlier with the piece that I did earlier, but that one is a piece of empowerment. But the flip side to empowerment is there has to be unity. And unity is what? The main word in community. But there's no community without a people. There's no people without a family. And there's no family without intimacy. Hence why I wrote the book. And intimacy is not sexual, but intimacy is specific or particular knowledge of a person or thing. And I think that we don't know enough about each other when we get married these days, get in relationships these days. So that's why I wrote the book that I wrote. And it's relationships in poetry, all stages. And with that, I want to say that at the heart of every relationship is the woman. Oh, y'all don't like it. Women. Okay, at the heart of every relationship is a dude. At the heart of every relationship is a woman. She is the key to it all. And so that's where this next poem is from. It's an anthem of the love that we should have for our black women. Can I do that for y'all? All right. Merriam-Webster defines the word adore as to love or care for someone very deeply. If that held true, I would have to say this. I think I need an app that would automatically save those photo attachments of every time she stops by to visit my dreams. Because every time I awake, what I've come to realize is it's her thought process that attracts and entraps my synapse, and it has me thinking that she is the most beautiful because even her thinking is beautiful. And on top of that, she's physically attractive. And her switch of hats from lover to supporter is so seamless, it's no less than magical how she knows when to exercise her silence. For the only broken records that I care to listen to is that trailing off of her pillow talk while she quietly fades off to sleep. But repeatedly waking up as if it never happened, trying to finish the conversation with me. Ladies, you know y'all do that, right? That's why every night I watch her as she sleeps. The inhale and exhale of her breathing brings me peace. Like waves lapping on the beach, it relaxes me. So much that it causes me distress when I know that my queen can't rest in a scent. Dear God, it must be heaven sent. It has to be of divine essence. No flower, designer, fragrance, powder, nor incense has the same effect on my third sense. I just want to bottle her pheromones so I can breathe her when she's not in my presence. then again, I think I'd rather be sunshine, so I could warm her soul from the inside, caressing every inch of her beautiful black skin, both her good and her bad sides. She's the reflection of perfection, love personified. God tailor-made her for me, so there's no need to have her modified. And her conversation is euphoric. I'm talking total metaphoric stimulation. She feeds me metamorphic paradigms that has my mind in a constant state of meditation. And her voice, oh, her voice is so beautiful. Every single syllable she enunciates is a gift. It makes me want to tattoo her mouth on my eardrum so whatever I hear has to pass from her lips. Yet she's so passionate about showing compassion. The fashion in which she gives of herself isn't even fair. And you may object to my selfishness, but I would subject myself to her emotional malpractice because the depth of a black woman's love goes beyond intensive care. You see, I was roaming that land of failed relationships like a nomad, but I've taken up new residence in that space she created for me inside of her heart, and it's been my permanent address ever since. She rides shotgun in my thoughts. She sings to my emotions. She nourishes my spirit, feeds me strength, and she summons my potential to come forth. She loves me without fear. Merriam-Webster defines the word adore as to love and care for someone very deeply, and if that held true, I would have to say that I wholeheartedly and emphatically adore my beautiful black queen. Thank y'all for listening.
You are clapping right now.
From recovery to discovery, she is the founder of the Women's Health and Fitness Center. She is an author. She is an inspirational leader. You are clapping right now for my girl, my trainer, Felicia Lee Sexton.
Y'all look real good. Don't I look good? Yeah. I know, right? Look at here. It was taking too long backstage, and I was needing them to hurry up, right? So normally when I'm on stage, I am saying, hi, my name is Felicia, and I'm a grateful recovering addict. And that's not to impress you or depress you. That's to tell you I am who I am, because I really don't care what you think about me, right? But something's wrong. Hold on. Midas, bring me my bench. Toya, where my boots? This is not working. This is not me, right? Bring them to me, baby. Because they tell me I got to stay in this little circle right here. They keep telling me I got to stay in this circle, and y'all know I'm a walker and a talker. Thank you, Midas. Thank you. So look, what we got to do is we got to take these off, because this is not who I am. Those shoes are real cool. Let's take my socks, baby. I don't need them right now. They clean. I swear they clean. All right, so look, this is who I am. This is who I am. I'm going to move this out the way so I won't get in any trouble. Now I'm going to say it again. Hi, my name is Felicia, and I'm a grateful recovering dope fiend. That might make you uncomfortable, but that's how I am. You see, because how I got here was being in the trenches doing dope. Let me say that again. I got on this stage because I was in the trenches doing dope. Just because I've been clean 25 years don't mean that tomorrow I won't wake up and decide to hit a piece of dope. See, because some of us suffer from a disease for which there's no known cure. Now, some of y'all was probably at the gambling shack last night. Don't raise your hand. Some of y'all was on the phone gossiping last night. If I hit you, don't fall. Some of y'all suffer from isms like too shortism, too brokeism, too tallism, I can't stand him ism. Right? Some of us go to church so much I might better stop there because there might be some preachers out there. But I'm here to tell you that we all suffer from something. And if you think you don't, look at your credit card bill. If you don't think you have a problem, look at that kid that you got a baby by that man, and sometimes you look at that kid and don't like him. Woo, that hurt. But I'm here to tell you that just because you have something going on don't mean you can't live a productive life. I'm a witness. I've had several businesses. I've done some things that most people would never do that's never done dope. And that's because I decided that I didn't want to live in the box. See, because you box yourself in so tough, and I know that for a fact because when I got clean, I was scared to drive down the street because I didn't even want to smell the dope. So let me back up a little bit. I got here to Houston because I stole this guy's couple of keys of dope. Let me just tell you the truth. See, I always told a lie I was coming to be with my big sister. But I stole this guy keys, and I was like, I got to get the hell out of here. I got to go, right? And my disease started, let me back up a little bit. You see, because sometimes you don't know you sick. Some of y'all, we don't know how sick we are. So I got a little old book out there, so you might want to get it, but I always say that if I had to do this thing over again, I'd do the exact same thing again. I wouldn't change a thing, right? Because that made me who I am. You see, I'm not even mad at the people who I started doing dope with. Just because they didn't have addictive personality, I'm the fool that had the addictive personality. See, if it had not been cocaine, it was going to be something. Some of y'all shop all day long. Matter of fact, you're shopping with your rent money. Come on now. The rest of them came out here and pulled punches with you, but I ain't got nothing to lose, boy. I told you I was a dope fiend. I ain't got nothing to lose. What you gonna do, whoop me? You gotta catch me first. Right? You gotta catch me first, boo. Okay, I'm gonna make this quick, y'all. So I'm from St. Louis, and I was with a gentleman that was head of the union. I hope ain't no union people here. He was head of the union for General Motors, but he also sold all the dope in the state. So I'm 18, 19 years old, and I saw the brother come in the juke joint that I had no business being in. I was like, I'm gonna get him. I said, I'm gonna get him. Oh, I got him. And all that went with it, right? But I was never mad at him. See, because everything he taught me in the street, I turned it into a business. See, I run my business like I sold dope. You understand what I'm saying? Everything that brother taught me, and I'm not mad at him, and God bless his soul, he's gone on, right? But that brother told me, you better listen. And he always told me, don't change in the middle of the road on me. You know, some of y'all be driving down the street, don't know whether to go left or right. He said, don't go left because you've been going right with me for a long time. See, in other words, that's an indication that some bull going to go on. So I met this brother. He was selling all the dope. His friends own diamond mines. I'm walking around with jewelry, buying my nieces and nephews jewelry, doing all I can do because that's the world I come from. I come from a world that if a brother hug you and stab you right there, they just throw you out in the middle of the street, and I just walk over you. I come from a world where when I told him this guy tried to rob me, they found the guy and put him in the house and let the rats eat on him. That's the world I come from. I come from a world where I'm very respectful. Let me tell you something. I never drank a drink. I never hit a cocaine in front of anybody until he got there. And I do that now. I respect the people that I'm with. See, it's one thing about being loyal to this game. And if you start something you're not loyal to it and you're not down with it, you don't do it 110%, I don't care if you're selling dope or selling shoes. You need to do it 110%. But my disease progressed until I didn't know who I was. Oh, did I have some good times? You know, I used to get, okay, I'm going to tell y'all this. What happened was, oh, Jesus, I hope ain't nobody here knows me. But I used to get high with Sugar Ray Leonard and Daryl Strawberry and all them in fights in Vegas, right? I knew before the man was going to leave Juanita. I knew it because I was at the party with the other girlfriend. Or a friend of mine played for the Cardinals that I got to rename nameless. Please don't tell it, Lord. And so I had the privilege to be around some folk that I shouldn't have been around. But to me, I was living. That was my world. I didn't realize that one day that world was going to go down and I was going to be in a hole I couldn't get my butt up out of. I didn't realize one day I was going to be in a room dousing all my clothes with water because I thought everything in the house was on fire. Come on now, somebody. See, y'all all know somebody that's addicted to something and you don't know. You running around here saying, what's wrong with them? Why they act like that? Because they sick. That ain't something they want to do. You think they want to be on their knees crawling around looking for dope? Come on now, this ain't no game. This is called real life. This is my life. And I told you when I got out here, I really don't care what you think about me. Because, see, I made my way back out. I struggled. One foot in front of the other. I got a girlfriend in here when I got clean. I lived in her bedroom on the floor with her little boys. They said, you can stay here as long as you need. How many of y'all extended your house to somebody? How many of y'all have tried to help somebody other than yourself? How many of y'all sitting there talking about the girl when she coming to church with the dress so short and you sitting there looking crazy? I was that girl that was high as hell in the church. Sharp as a tack, but high as hell. I was that girl. So we pass judgment on people real quick. And y'all forget to turn it inside out and look at you. You need to look at you first before you start judging somebody else. So we're going to fast forward this deal a little bit. Got to Houston. I got to tell this story because my sister here, right? So what had happened was, my nieces and I loving her dad found me in the house and said, Mama wants you. So I go down there with the big lie that I ain't never, you know, I wasn't high. I was high as a kite. Yeah, so high, I was like, I can't remember who I'm talking to. And my sister said, I'm taking you to the treatment center to get your drugs test. And I'm like, I don't care. I ain't high. I'm good. I ain't done nothing in a while. Well, by the time I get there, that story changed, and I fell on the floor like I was 2 years old, and my sister said, get your ass up. Excuse me, Lord. Mama not here, and I was supposed to take care of you. At that moment, I got up, and I hadn't done dope since. Because what happened was, not only did I feel bad for her, I finally realized that, fool, you sick. But I'm going to go back a little bit. When you talk about pain, let me tell you something. My mama died at 51 from lupus, and I was at the funeral, and the embarrassing part, I bet you these kids can remember, all the dope dealers in town showed up to the little vestibule on the side. You know, in the old church, they had a little side where everybody, the overflow. Well, all of them was in the overflow. You know, with their mink coats and all that on, and I could not remember where they buried my mama. Talking about pain. Man, when I got clean, I had to come clean and tell my sister and them, I don't know where she is. You're talking about not only embarrassing, but painful. And because I have the family that I have, they rallied up and they took me where my mama was. So being in Houston, getting clean, and trying to figure out what you gonna do, because, boo, you been getting high so long, I got high morning, noon, and night. Matter of fact, if I didn't like you, you was gonna be high, because I was gonna put something in your drink. Bam, drop the mic. I'm just telling you. So all I knew was to get high. That's all I knew. And when I got clean, I said, y'all mean tell me I'm supposed to do this stuff without no dope? Don't everybody get high? I mean, that's all I know. Don't everybody do cocaine? Well, I got real smart. I taught myself how to cook cocaine. I'm real smart. I'm so smart, I'm dumb. I taught myself, but I got clean. And I always tell my girls at the gym, you cannot go back and pick her up. You got to find a new her. See, I couldn't go back and go to law school like I wanted to. My sister said, well, it ain't going to take you but to paralegal school. So I did that. You cannot go back and find that girl, but there's a new one over here waiting. The problem is you're scared to find her because you don't know the outcome, so you stay in a safe zone. I'm not a safe zone girl. I told y'all I sold dope. I transported dope. I wrapped my body in dope. I'm not a safe girl. So fast forward, I got this gym, right? And they tell me, I started menopause at 38. Let's go there. And a good friend of mine, John Mitchell, who I always love, was talking about taking pills. And I'm like, dude, I ain't taking nothing. I started taking some. I'm going to be high as a kite. I'm just telling y'all. Because, see, I don't know how to do one or nothing. When I start anything, it's off to the races, boo. I'm going to put my chair at the refrigerator like, what else in here to eat? Woo, that wasn't enough. Let me run to the corner store because I have addictive personality. So start working out, started this bodybuilding thing, and I started looking kind of cute, And next thing you know, I start winning competitions after competitions after competitions, and I'll be 57 on my next birthday. And again, that ain't to impress you or depress you. It just is what it is. And so that became my way of coping with me. See, because I have to find something to deal with me on because I will get engrossed because I have a very sick mind. I am an addict through and through, boo. I get on a roll and can't stop. So started doing that. We opened the Women's Health and Fitness Center. Shout out to my girls. Where they at? See, that's called Pink Room Warriors. We don't play. We just roll. And that became another life for me. See, because I couldn't go back and pick that one up, but he allowed me to minister to women and not be afraid to tell them my story. How many of y'all got a story here and ain't wrote it down? How many of you got something inside that you don't want nobody to know? Child molestation, drug-addicted parents. You walking in the grocery store or in the store stealing yourself, putting the sunglasses in your purse. Come on, somebody. Don't roll up in here because life is perfect. Because just because I'm 25 years strong don't mean that tomorrow stuff won't hit the fan. Because it hit the fan for me all the time. They'll tell you the truth. They train her crazy. And they know it. But guess what? I'm not hiding it. I deal with life on life's terms every day. So I encourage you to do that. So I wrote this book not because I wanted to, because I cried all day long. See, there's a chapter in that book where I had to apologize to myself. Think about doing it when you go home. I had to apologize to little Felicia for the crap I put her through, man. I had to tell her I'm sorry that we didn't accomplish some of the things that we wanted to do. I'm sorry that our life ended where it did. I'm sorry that I put you through all that. I'm sorry you was around people that we shouldn't have been around. But today, I think little Felicia is pretty proud. I apologized and made amends. So it's one thing about making amends and the other thing about apologizing. Look it up when you get home. See, because you apologize all day long. But do you make a real amends and mean it? Or are you just saying it so you can get what you need? Oh, Lord. So there's somebody in this room, a couple of people in this room I want to tell them I love them. James, I know you out there. I love you. I know I'm a handful as a girlfriend. Ooh, gee. After 8 years, boo, I'd have threw me away too. But I need to say that. I needed to say that. My sister and my nieces are here. I need to tell them that I love them because they've always had my back. See, because in my family, it don't matter what you go through, we gonna come running. So I wrote this book, From Recovery to Discovery, and then I got enough courage to thank you, Denicia, and I wrote a workbook because sometimes I need to write it down. Sometimes I need to say, dang, am I this insane? And so that book tells you about my journey. That book tells you about that sleazy, crazy crap I did. That book tells you that, but we do recover. And so if you're sitting in here and you hiding, some of y'all don't turn your head, and you got something going on, it's all right. Because you're not the only one, because the person next to you just as crazy. Look to the left, look to the right. Maybe not. I don't know, I can't see. But I know on this journey, I'm telling you, and I'm going to say it again, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing. If you're left to my own devices, I'd be loaded right now. I'm just telling you. They flashing this light on me over here, y'all. Is that the light to get off the stage or the light to keep going? All right, so what I got to say is, hi, my name is Felicia, and I approve this message. Peace.
Prepare your consciousness for your next speaker, the man who brought us all together tonight. He is author of 2 best-selling books. He is the associate producer of a highly acclaimed television program. He is a successful businessman, proven philanthropist. At this time, this moment, on what has already been an incredible evening of enlightenment, put your hands together, loudly, proudly, enthusiastically. I need you to start clapping. I need you to start clapping now. Louder to the left. Louder to the right. I need you louder down the middle. I need you to bring him out strong. Bring him out strong. Bring him out strong. Let's hear it for the man you know, you love, you admire, you appreciate. Let's hear it for Carlos Wallace.
Up here behind Felicia with that holy testimony. So I know this is a little different than what y'all used to seeing coming from Soul. After 11 years of making y'all laugh, we thought it was time to put some empowerment and education in this, man. So give it up for all the speakers that you've seen tonight. And I handpicked each one of them for a specific reason. Marcus, the one you saw first, he's from Martin Luther King Boulevard, one of the roughest parts of Houston, or any city for that matter. But now, he's one of the most successful businessmen in America under 40. And it may not be any of you guys, but somebody need to hear that, because they're on Martin Luther King Boulevard thinking they can't get off. And then you saw my cousin Maya, or Dr. Wiley, I'm not used to calling her that, and Rachel, with the Deep East Texas roots, like myself, empowering young ladies and teaching them how to become successful women. I like that. Ernest, I've gone to the schools and seen him take the students that nobody wants, the students that everybody's fighting and biting, and he transformed them with poetry. Who knew poetry could be so powerful? Dude's amazing. He don't know how to respect the light, but he did a hell of a job speaking. And then you had Dr. Sawyer and Dr. Wiggins. I wanted them to talk about mental health because today's time, like, we are afraid to talk about it. And the only way we're gonna ever fix it and make it better is we have to confront it. And for those that don't know, Dr. Sawyer is responsible for my book being in the curriculum at Lone Star College. Give it up for that. And then, of course, Felicia speak for herself. Now, when I met Felicia, she told me she was 53 at the time, and I'm still waiting to see her ID, because I don't believe it. She amazing person, man. She's the spark plug of the whole soul, everything. She'll call me 5 o'clock in the morning. Brother, I got an idea. What is it? But we just wanted to do something different, you know. And so now you have this. I'm often asked, what made me write a book? And to be honest with you, I said, I didn't really want to. I said no. Publishing company approached me, and I said no. Because I'm a diehard union man, and I believe you do what it is you do. I'm not a writer. I'm not an author. But God had a different plan. So after about a year, and Liz staying on me, for those of y'all don't know, Liz is my girlfriend. That was her on the intro. She hit me with something that I just couldn't argue with. You know, y'all do that. She said, you're always talking about all the rules and principles and godly things that your parents and grandparents raised you based on, and you share them with those closest to you, but if you died tomorrow, that'll go with you. I couldn't say anything. I said, well, you're right. So, Life is Not Complicated was born. Life is Not Complicated, you are. And a lot of people don't like the title. They say it's a little rough. They even get offended. If you are, it's for you. Because I'm going to tell you, in writing it, it taught me something. It showed me that I overcomplicate things too. I make things way harder than they have to be. Well, in my old life, I was an engineer for Union Pacific Railroad, as was my dad, my grandfather, great and great-great-grandfather. That's 5 generations in case y'all wasn't keeping up. There's a lot of people that cannot say that. I don't know how many in here can say they worked in the same industry for 5 generations. And even with that, the job that every little boy wants with every passing train, it was still days that I made it harder than it had to be. September the 15th, 2005, I was on this rotating board. It's 8 of us, all in seniority order. And I was a union rep, and I got bumped by another union rep, white guy. So when things are in seniority order, you normally bump the lowest person, because if you don't, you bump number 2, then it goes 3, so forth and so on. So you bump the lowest guy. Well, I was the 4th person, and he bumped me. Right away, I took it personal. I was like, dude, wait till I see this. Now, it's racism. That's what I'm thinking. You know, he bumped me because I'm black, and he going to get the business when I see him. So that was around 10. About 7 o'clock that night, they get called out. He had the conductor that I was previously with. So I called my conductor. I said, man, put him on the phone. I got something for him. And he explained to me that it was the 15th. It was the last day of the pay period, and I was first out. So he bumped me so he could make sure he get out that day. Now, even though he didn't owe me an explanation, that made total sense. Now, here I was mad all day. All day. For something that had made total sense. But it's all in here, right? They go on out to the train. 3 hours later, the conductor called me back. He said, man, G.Y. is gone. He's frantic. He's screaming. The guy's name was G.Y. Bailey. They had a head-on collision, and the guy got killed. 10 hours before that, I'm mad because this guy bumped me. Little did I know God was taking me out of harm's way. How many of us do that? You get what I'm saying? And so, it woke me up. I said, man, look, that could have been me. And I just started to think of things differently as I walk in life every day. I didn't know I was going to write a book at that time, but I knew that life was a lot different than just being upset about things for no reason. So being a speaker, I'm afforded the opportunity to travel. I meet a lot of people. And not long ago, I was in Cleveland for a convention. Who ain't here from Cleveland? It ain't no proud place to be. You know? LeBron gone. So my hotel was about 20 minutes from the convention center. So every day I had to take an Uber into the city. And this particular day, everywhere I go, I wear "Life is Not Complicated, You Are" t-shirt, for those that don't know, everywhere I go. And I'm with the Uber driver, young brother, and he said, man, what is your shirt about? Starts the conversation. And I said, well, I'm in town to speak at colleges. And he said, what do you speak about? I said, I teach you how to think differently, not to make things such a big deal. He said, well, good, I need your opinion. He said, man, and as he's telling this, I'm looking in his car. He in a little Toyota. He got pictures of his wife, 2 children, I'm assuming they're his. And he starts telling me the story about how this is just his Uber car, but his other car is a Dodge Charger, black on black rims with dark tinted windows. And he's just tired of police pulling him over. So he's going through this story, and I said, well, why do you think they keep pulling you over? He says, because I'm black. I said, but I thought you said your windows were tinted. So they don't know you black until they pull you over. He said, well, it could be because there's a drug dealer that lives near me drives the same car. I said, huh. I said, does your family ride with you in this car? He said, yeah. I said, so let me get this straight. You'd rather drive a car that put your family in harm's way every time you're in it. Because what if that rival drug dealer see that car and think you the competition? Take you out. And let's just say you live, but one of your children or your wife died. You wouldn't live with that? He said, man, I never thought about it like that. I better sell that car. See, you can complicate things more than they have to be. Last year, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, at this all-white Catholic school, and they wanted me to come down and talk to them about social justice. The initial thought was, do they know who I am? Are they sure? And then it was, they got the right one. So we're going through all these questions. I mean, these kids, they are some very well-educated kids. Because normally I get the whole, how much money do you make? Do you know Kevin Hart? Have you ever done whatever? You know, and I'm thinking, man, that's some real stuff, right? So this is a school that's highly educated. And these kids, I mean, they have questions that it make you take a second. And one young lady said to me, Mr. Wallace, being a veteran, how do you feel about the NFL players kneeling? I said, well, glad you point out that I'm a veteran, because I fought for the right for them to be able to do either one they want to do. Doesn't matter if I like it or not. If I fought for the rights, they wasn't selected. They weren't limited rights. They were rights for all, right? So the next one hit me with a deep one, so she thought. How do you feel about the rebel statues? I said, well, I'm not one to get excited about trophies either way. But I do have a question. Like, how did the losing team get a trophy? You know, that I do have that question. But in regards to the people that want to keep them up and the people that want to tear them down, the one question I have is, do you even know why they are there? And if you do, then let's have the discussion. But to the black people that are mad, this is specifically for you. The statues have been around for quite some time, so why did we all of a sudden get mad, right? That ain't the question. University of Kentucky has an arena called Rupp Arena. Adolph Rupp is one of the most racist people in our history. He never wanted black basketball players to play NCAA basketball. In 1966, his all-white team was beat by an all-black team after he went over the media over and over saying there is no way the mental capacity of a black player could ever surpass that of a white player. This is real stuff. So I asked him the question now, how the hell can you be mad about those statues, but praying for your son to play in Rupp Arena. That's the biggest rebel statue in America. So I have, before I go, 3 questions. Why did I get mad when the guy bumped me? Because we're programmed to immediately go to an idea of why he done it. Not one time did I ever think about what his reasons were. All I thought about was mine. Why did the guy get mad when he gets pulled over with the Dodge Charger? Because he's been programmed that it's racism. They pulling me over because I'm black. Not one time did he think about these beautiful kids and his beautiful wife. And why did we all of a sudden, in the last 2 or 3 years, get mad about rebel statues? Because the media told us we should. So what if you don't get anything else from me? One thing I want you to get tonight, I challenge each and every one of you guys. Every day have at least one original thought. Not just repeat what someone else has told you.